So, having some struggle today. I'm finding the scrumph to carry on. And it occurred to me as I was turning this on that I used to feel the frustration, the sadness, the depression, the absolute choking, binding weight and debt of not knowing what I was here for. What's the reason? Why am I here? What's the purpose? Because the world doesn't make sense. Therefore, I want to try to make sense of it. I'm a very cerebral individual. I spend a lot of time in my Gemini mind and, intellectualizing, making stuff logical, doing things that, most human beings want to make sense of their world. And for me personally, I'm going to want to analyze it and think about it and review it and try to understand it from, 900 different perspectives. And so in the past, it really was a struggle of, what's the point of anybody being here? Why the hell are we here? What's the point? And why am I here? And, what do I have to do that's significant? Because I never felt like anything that I was doing was significant. Therefore, it's just a waste of my time. I've got no use. And, that's a fairly debilitating and depressing stance. And unfortunately, without knowing why I'm here, my little Gemini mind, I needed to have a reason. Otherwise, what I'm seeing around me is my personal life is, gorgeous sunrise, is a bag of shit. And the world seems to be, kind of a bag of shit, just randomly exploding. And it's gotten worse exponentially throughout my lifetime. So, I used to ask someone that I consulted for spiritual matters, what's the point? Why are we here? And a couple of different people, anybody that purports to be a spiritual leader, that used to be one of my main questions. Is cool. Maybe you have the answer. Why are we here? Why am I here? Why are you here? Why am I here? Why are we here? And the answer was, one of them was, well, you can't get into the mind masturbation, which, I thought, all right, that seems a little crass, but, you can ask the questions why, and just get jiggy with not getting any answer. And, that didn't sit well with me. And it still doesn't, because there's always an answer. It's that the answer is going to always be evolving. As far as I know, and as far as I'm concerned, the answer will never be able to land on a hard and fast unless it's, the law of gravity. And then when you move into outer space, those change, those laws change. So, nothing is permanent except change. And what is constant, though, is the vibration and the frequency of loving kindness and unconditional response, compassion, all of the things that Jesus talked about, Buddha, Lao Tzu, all of the great leaders and ascended masters, and ancient wisdom, hermetic knowledge, that we know from sacred texts, that they're all boiling around this and down to being the same concept. And so questioning why, it's because I kept questioning why that I finally have the answer. It's that the answer is complicated in terms of me trying to muster up the strength, the endurance, the feels to be able to feel like I can go on whenever my feels are so tapped with, war in Ukraine or war in my world or whatever it is, wherever it is that me personally, I'm meeting, a warlike experience. And then on top of it, I'm seeing war around the world in every facet that, could be had. It's happening. It's like the deterioration of the planet. And I don't understand how it is that there are people walking around that just want to play like that. That's not happening, that they're oblivious. I don't happen to believe that, 2022 is the year that the U.S. is going down and that, we're all burning to cinders any second. I think that, we've already had those occasions. Our Capitol was breached. I'm pretty sure that we've seen some pretty horrible stuff, and that the continued escalation of that, it's logical to assume that, yes, there are other bad things that will continue to happen because we're not changing the pattern fast enough. 444 just went by. We're not changing the pattern fast enough. For my taste and for, my mission on Earth this is a time drill. And I know there are people who subscribe to all in good time, and, hard science say Earth got, only so much time left. And I definitely have a remarkably fractional amount of time in comparison. Even if I was super duper lucky, maybe I would get another 50 years. Fantastic. The Earth will get another 50 years more than likely. I don't run that show, and I don't have the know on that. I know that we can eliminate life on Earth pretty quickly by acting a little more boldly than we are right now, swinging weird. So, anything could happen if we, avoid nuclear war, et cetera, and we just go with the destruction of the planet based on our own insidious, invasive overtaking of her. Then we don't have, generations to come. That's already been proven scientifically. And I'm here. Part of my mission is to, 555. I'm Team Tower, man. I'm all about, change. I'm the Tower. My team jersey is 555, with the ellipsis, ... I go into infinity with change, because change is what we need. Change my mind about this, change my thought on that, change my perception about that, change my understanding, change my unwillingness to willingness. It's not that I am willing to change my mind and have a different opinion or a different thought or a different loyalty or support right off the top just because I've opened my mind and listened and taken in the information. Doesn't mean that it's correct information or that it's information that I'm going to want to need to retain. If it's scientific information, provable stuff, then those are the things that I'll take and put those into my, those are hard and fast there, Kate. Don't mess with that. Don't wait on that, and don't relate with, I'll just make stuff up because I don't like what the hard and fast rule is or the hard and fast understanding. I can't change the property of gravity just because I fell down, or just because I want to be able to fly, that I'll change on paper, the laws of gravity. Well, when I get out there and I can't fly, then that's pretty evident. And we have examples of that kind of thing going on all over the United States, the world, millions, trillions, gabillions of times a day. And we're not very quick to pick it up and understand the direct consequence for our actions. We're not very well into the future, more than, a few minutes. Many of us, that now moment is now I want this, now I want that, now I want this. And we're working on what we want next. We're thinking we're living in the now because we're manifesting and we're working on our vision boards and we're working on this. And maybe really what we need to be looking at, in my humble opinion, is let's get everybody to that buffet table of delights that, we all want to stuff our face into, and yum, yum, yum. And it's just delicious and delightful. And the universe is yummy. The universe is yummy. And every single person on this planet deserves to know what that yummy's all about. And whoever's being denied, murdered, and just dissected and squashed, divide and conquer, man. Separate a person from their faith, separate a person from their support, separate a person from their family, their friends, their pets, their job, their finances, their emotions, whatever it is, their sexuality. When we separate a person, an individual, from whatever it is that they cling to help them define themselves and where they're headed and what they're doing and what they're all about, to answer all those existential crisis kind of questions, when we separate a person out and put some trauma on top of them, if we start that shit early, they're a puppet for the rest of their lives probably, and they'll continue that same pattern, which is exactly what we have here in the world right now, is the patterning of generations of Earth time that is locked in rigid to some very bad paradigm that it's got to go. The age of Aquarius is here, the age of Pisces is not, and the age of Aquarius means we're going to do things in a different way. I didn't set that up. That's not my rule, and I didn't make it up. I abide by it, and I obey the concept because I understand that I'm not go outside, and I'm not about to go outside and just lift off because I want to, and because I've manipulated on paper or somehow, found a way to fake fly, by borrowing the properties of flight and aerodynamics. Just because I can manipulate it and I can fly doesn't mean that I possess that power. It means that I've manipulated that source of knowledge and made shit happen for myself. I manifested the ability to fly based on the principles and the understandings. However, I don't just flap, flap, and off I go. That's a very deep understanding of aerodynamics, or it's a very deep understanding of I purchased a hang glider from that person and that's how I flew. And then I might get cocky, arrogant, bold, and assuming a great deal about myself if I really believe the whole thing that, here with your hang glider comes your Wonder Woman tights, your cape, and your ability to fly anytime you want to. You just have to keep coming back to me and I'll sell you a new upgraded whatever it is every single time. And we get endeared to other people to help us define laws of gravity that you're using it inappropriately. You're manipulating and selling the idea that people are flying independently and they're not. And then whenever they find out on that day, it's a bad day when they realized, oh, I can't really do this on my own. No, you cannot, because we all succumb to that power, that fifth element, those first four, and then that fifth of all the magic and properties of Earth and outer space that we're aware of. And that's a very fractional amount based on what we think we already know versus what we are pretty sure we don't know. And the universe is expanding, so we're never going to get 1111, a hard and fast on how much of the observable universe there is versus that which is not observable. We've made a lot of advances in technology and a lot of advances in our thinking, yet we still have some very rudimentary thinking that is keeping us held back, keeping us locked in wars, keeping us locked in cruel and unusual punishment that has become cruel and very everyday and very common. That's disturbing to my soul. And so 1144, before I go, there we go. Just going to say thank you very much to the Colorado Rockies, the Front Range. I so very much appreciate living here. These mountains sing to me daily. And I had somebody tell me, you don't have a very good view. My view's better because she lives over on the other side of the complex. And I had to laugh. I thought, isn't that, an interesting perspective? Because I was tickled pink to be living in my apartment and to see that view every day. That's the beauty I get to see. I open up my blinds about 5:30 in the morning, every morning, 12:22, that I look out there. And no, I don't have, the greatest topographical outline. However, I was taken with, isn't that funny that you're telling me my experience isn't good, and yet I'm thrilled. And I never did see from her place. I didn't see. I don't know her, but she said, from my place, you can really see, and you should come over. And I thought, isn't that funny how one person, their perception is that my view isn't all that great, and my perception is that it's fantastic. And if I were to be listening to that busted technology, I might be willing to listen to that and go, oh, and then not enjoy this every morning at 5:30. And then I, throughout the day out the morning, as I'm getting my coffee, as I'm feeding my cats, as I'm doing my morning routine, I look out and I can see the beautiful colors. I mean, what is there not to enjoy about seeing that every morning? And if I let somebody else, by comparison, by comparative study of personal opinion, tell me that that's not a very good view, I would be missing that kind of self-satisfaction and appreciation. That buffet table, that's it. And me saying that the buffet table, well, right over here isn't really good. I'd rather have that over there. That's not a good way to get everybody to the buffet table, because you're not teaching everybody that everything is the buffet table. It's a matter that there's some stuff on the buffet table that I don't want to eat horse shit. Do you? Let's get that off the table, because it's on the table. That's what we don't want to talk about, though, is that we don't want to talk about the reality of it. We just want to talk about smashing our face into the yummy delights of the universe. And unfortunately, we have a little bit of, trash removal that needs to be done, and get the junk off the table and get everybody saddled up there and ready to eat heartily. And also know that it's not a revolving door, and that once you make it into that buffet table, it's because you earned your place there, and you have every right to pull up and eat just like everybody else. If you're the prodigal son coming home, there's a celebration, sit down, let's eat, and don't ever do that again, and when you do go away and you're being the prodigal son, can't expect to really sit down at that table. Or if you get to the table, you're usually at that end where all the cocky doodle is, and that's not very yummy, have you noticed? So on that, I'm going to go and continue to say thank you very much and not listen to somebody tell me what my perspective is. It's because I get on in my skin and I know that my divine's absolutely fine.